guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, I am sitting in a big mess of a room. You can't really see it. Actually, this room is not too bad, but this is the office in our current house here in Florida. We have not moved yet. When you are seeing this, we should still be here. We're not moving for another few days, but I obviously have some stuff I still need to pack. The house is definitely not ready to be moved out of. However, we're getting there, and there's a lot of stuff I can't really pack because we're still using it. So it's kind of a work in progress still, even though we still are moving in less than a week, hopefully. But yeah, so that's why I'm sitting in this room. It's pretty empty. Hopefully it's not too echoey. But this was our office, and this is like the only decent room I could film in. And yeah, so that's that. Also, my hair is kind of crazy. I just took a shower and it's just like drying, so it's kind of nuts, but I wasn't really gonna blow dry my hair and curl it for this video just because I didn't really feel like doing that, and we've been doing stuff with the house every single day, so I haven't really like been getting really ready every single day. I try to put on like a little bit of makeup, but that's really it. I'm just in like comfy clothes. I just have my Rosy Days shirt on, but yeah, I'm just kind of chilling, and I thought I would film this video because I asked for questions over on Instagram about this topic, which I'll get into in a second, and I'm sure you already saw by the title of the video, but I'm really excited to do this video. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. So if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, then you would not know that we bought a house. We are officially homeowners. We closed yesterday, so now we are officially official. We are homeowners. The house is 100% ours now. We already paid our closing costs. We signed all of the paperwork. We transferred all the utilities into our name. Like, it is our house, and I'm so excited. So I posted on Instagram yesterday after our closing. We have like a unique situation because you guys know we live in Florida, but we're buying in Ohio because that's where we are moving to. My husband is getting out of the military, so that's kind of our little situation. But we wanted to buy a house before we got there so that we would have a house to move into, and we wouldn't have to like, you know, live in a rental for 6 months while we looked for a house and then, you know, moved again. We wanted to, especially me, I just wanted to move straight into a house. I didn't want to have to deal with all that crap. So that is what we did, and I'm so glad it worked out that way. This video is probably going to be all over the place. I really want to answer a lot of these questions, and I got so many, so this is probably going to be a longer video, so just bear with me. But I know you guys will enjoy it because I know a lot of you wanted to know about this stuff. So I asked over on my Instagram for you guys to send me any questions about like the VA loan, because we did use the VA loan, buying a house out of state while you haven't seen the house in person, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna just kind of go through the questions. Some questions have really simple answers, some questions have a little bit of longer answers, so I'll just kind of get into that as well. Also, I really wanted Devin to be in this video because obviously we bought this house together, not just me, but he is at work all weekend. Today is Friday, and he's working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all day. He works 12-hour shifts, so it's kind of gonna be hard to film it, and it just worked out where I asked for questions yesterday and we didn't have time to film yesterday, and I wanted to give a chance for everyone to send in questions. So it's just gonna be me, but I really wish he was here because this is like a big us thing, like a big thing that we did together, and I'm super excited about it. So yeah, so I wanted him to be in the video, but unfortunately he is at work, so I'm just gonna do it by myself. But let's go ahead and get into some of the questions. So let's start with this one. Is it hard to get approved for a VA loan if I currently do not have a job where I'm moving to? So this is a tricky one, and also when I'm answering these questions, keep in mind that I'm not an expert. This is our first time buying a home, so I do not know all the answers, and if I say something that's wrong, don't be rude about it. You know, if you are going to correct me in the comments, just be nice. And also, if you're going to correct me, make sure you know what you're talking about too, just so you're not giving out false information. I do feel pretty confident about all the information I'm going to be talking about. I would never give you guys information I wasn't like pretty sure about or 100% sure about, so just keep that in mind. But I am not an expert. I'm not a realtor. I don't, you know, do this for a living. This is just the first house that we bought, and I thought I would give my input in on it. So Devin is getting out of the military, and from what we were told, if you are less than a year out from getting out of the military, you do have to prove that you have a job wherever you're moving to, even if you're staying in the same place. So for us, Devin had already had a job, and I already do have a job in Ohio where we're moving. So it was pretty easy for us. My income did not count at all for our home purchasing process because I haven't been working long enough for my income to count with the job that I have. Like I haven't been doing dental assisting for long enough. So my income did not count at all. So even though I have a job and I have a job where we're moving to, it didn't matter. So Devin obviously has been in the Air Force for 4 years, and he is a medical lab tech in the lab in the hospital. So from what we were told, you have to have the same type of career when you're getting out of the military for your income to count. Now, I don't know, that's just what we were told. You can tell me if you did this process and your spouse did not have the same type of job outside that they did have in the military, and you bought while he was still or she was still in the military. You can tell me that down below, but we were told that it has to be in the same career field. So Devin is doing the exact same job he does in the military outside of the military, so he had to provide a lot of documentation for that to prove that he was like hired and had a start date and all that stuff. So back to the question, is it hard to get approved for a loan if I currently do not have a job? So yeah, so you're not going to be able to get approved for the loan if you don't have a job and they know you're going to be getting out of the military and moving like soon. Does that make sense? I hope so. The next question is, did you put down a down payment even though you used the VA loan? Congrats, by the way. Thank you. So if you guys do not know, with the VA loan, you do not have to put any money down on a house, and we personally did not put any money down on the house, and there is a reason why. We do have a lot of money saved for like the house buying process, like to buy furniture and like do things to the house. The house does need a little bit of work, so for things like that. But we decided personally to not put any money down on this house, and the reasoning behind that is that this is not our forever home, and we're only planning on living here for maybe 5 to 7 years, I would say, until we kind of grow out of it. It's a 3-bedroom house, so by the time we have a few kids, eventually it's gonna feel small. It is a small house. It's only just over 1,000 square feet. So it does have a finished basement though. So we could always like make a room down there, but it is a small house. So we will grow out of it eventually, but because this is not our forever home, I didn't really want to put money down. We decided not to put any money down just because we were like, we don't want to spend a big portion of our savings that we've worked really hard to save to put towards a house that we're not going to be living in forever. Now, if we had been purchasing our forever home, we probably would have put money down. But I hope that makes sense to you guys. We just didn't think it was worth it to put money down when we didn't have to. And also just because it's our first time buying a house. So we didn't feel like we really wanted to do that. The next question is, were you scared not seeing it before buying? So this is a pretty like legit question to ask, because we have not seen the house in person. We've only seen it through photos and FaceTime, and then through like the realtors, not the realtor because we actually bought it. It was sold by owner, so they had no realtor. It was just the person selling the house. So the photos that they posted for the listing, we saw those, but I honestly am not that worried about it. I am not a very like picky person. We had our realtor go in and he FaceTimed us and sent us a detailed video of him walking through the house. So I have that, which I watch like all the time because I'm so excited. And then we also have seen pictures, and then we have the most amazing friends that helped us throughout this whole process. And Cody, I don't know if you're watching this, but hi Cody. So our friends Cody and Sarah, they have 2 little girls, and they are our really, really good friends that live in the area that we're moving to. So they have helped us so much. They are a little bit older than us. They bought 2 houses before, so they like know what they're doing. And so he was able to go with our realtor and look at the houses for us. He was such a big help to us, and we are so grateful for that. So he went with our realtor to every house showing and looked at all the houses for us and was like texting us as he was there. It was really, really awesome. So we're really grateful for that. So we got his perspective, and so I felt really confident. We trust them and their opinion on like the area and like what the house looks like and all that. So and you know, they would have been really honest with us, so we didn't feel like they would, you know, not tell us if it was a bad house, if that makes sense. So we had that, and then also after we put in our offer and our offer was accepted on the house, my parents actually got to go up there and look at the house, and they got to go inside and look around and everything. And so my parents also gave us another like opinion on it, and my parents love the house as well, and they like the area. We're in a really good area, which was really important to me. So our area is really nice. We're in a really good spot, and our neighborhood is like safe, which was really important to me, and the house itself is really nice. So those were all important to me, and I feel good that I have like our realtor our realtor's approval and opinion, our friend's opinion, and my parents' opinion. So we had a lot of people go look at it just to make sure that everything was good. So I'm not really scared about moving to the house because we haven't seen it at all. Like, I've seen the pictures and the videos and, you know, I don't know. So I'm not really worried about it. Had we bought it without like anybody going to look at it, like I might have been a little nervous. Like when you buy a house, you have a house inspection and an appraisal and all that. So once you go through all that, it's kind of like it tells you like if you still feel good about buying the house. So I feel really good about it. I have no like worries. This is another good question. This is from the same person and it says, does this house check every box or did you have to compromise on things? And then another question that she asked was, how did you decide what area to buy in? So those are really good questions. As far as the area goes, it's really simple. We already know the area that we're moving to, so we had a really good idea of like 2 to 3 kind of areas that we wanted to be in, and our realtor knew that. So those are kind of the areas that we looked in. So we already know the area, and that's how we knew where to buy. And then as far as did this house like check every box, like is this my dream house? No, but I quickly realized going in, because you know when you get approved when you get pre-qualified for a loan, that just means they tell you like how much you can afford, and then based off of that, and if you know like what area you're going to be in, you can kind of estimate with the taxes and everything how much your monthly mortgage is going to be. So when we got approved for a certain amount, which was well above what we ended up purchasing with, if we had purchased a home with the budget they gave us, we would probably be like house poor. And I think that they probably do that just so that you'll buy a more expensive house. But we could have afforded it, obviously, because they approved us for it. But would it have been a smart move? No, not really. So we actually purchased a house that was like well below what we were approved for, which I'm really, really happy about, because this gives me the opportunity to stay home when we have babies, which is ultimately what we want. So I'm really excited about that. But no, this is not my dream house, and I'm totally fine with that. I quickly realized with the budget we were going to go for that we were either going to get a like bigger home as a fixer-upper, which was not really what I wanted. We did not want a fixer-upper. Devin is not super handy, and I just don't want to deal with the renovation stuff. So I preferred to have a smaller home that was more updated on the inside. So that's what we got. Our house was actually built in the 50s, so it is an older home. However, the seller purchased it and they flipped it on the inside, so it's all renovated on the inside. Everything is brand new. We're the first people to live in it as renovated. So it has like a whole new kitchen. The flooring's all new. It has fresh paint on the walls. Like the kitchen is all new, the appliances are new. So they also did like a new patio out back with a covering, so it's all brand new. And so that's really, really nice. And it is, like I said, a smaller house. It's just over 1,000 square feet, but that is more what I wanted. I didn't mind to have a smaller house, as long as it was like nicer on the inside, if that makes sense. So no, this house does not have everything that I've ever wanted in a home, but it's our first house, and obviously we had to be realistic because like I said, we're not planning on staying in this house forever. So it was pretty easy for me to compromise. I mean, there were some things I was not going to compromise on, but there are things that I did, and I'm totally fine with that. So someone else asked, did you have to design the entire house, or did you pick from a layout? So like I said before, we did not build this house. I guess maybe when I posted 2 pictures on Instagram, and I didn't want to post too much just because I want to wait until I do like a full house tour, like an empty house tour when we move there. And all of the pictures I have are just like from the listing, so they're not like, you know, the best pictures ever. I kind of wanted to take my own. But from the picture I posted of the kitchen, and then the picture I posted from our basement, I guess you may think that it was like a new build because everything's new and it looks nice. But it's not. It's not a new home. It, like I said, was built in the 50s, and we didn't get to pick anything out. We bought it as it was. So our next house for sure, I told Devin I really want to build, because then we get to pick out everything, and then that house would be a little bit more like long-term for us. So I would like to build in the future, but we did not build this house. How did you guys know it was the house? Okay, so this is a really good question, because the market is absolutely insane right now. If you guys are trying to buy a house, my thoughts and prayers are with you. We are in the same boat, and I'm so glad that it's over. But I had a pretty good experience. We had a pretty good experience, but it was stressful, and the market right now is crazy because it is a seller's market. it just because right now the interest rates are super low, and so a lot of people are refinancing their homes or are purchasing their homes and selling their houses. So every house we had to move so super fast. Like the house that we ended up buying, you guys, I happened to find it on Zillow on my lunch break at work. That was at about noon, and it had went up like maybe 2 hours before that. I sent it to my realtor. They went over and looked at it right away, and then we put in an offer, I want to say by 2 or 3 p.m. and then our offer was accepted by like dinner time, like 6 p.m. It all happened all within like less than 8 hours, and it was crazy. But we actually, you guys, had put in offers, and I want to say, how many offers did we put in? 4 houses before we actually got the one that we bought. So it was like kind of a stressful process, and houses were going so fast just because of the market right now. And also we had to offer on every single house above asking price, which was crazy because that was the only way you were going to get one, because the market is so hot right now that people are willing to pay more. And so sellers, I just think, aren't willing to take less than asking price. I guess after we had put in offers on a few different houses, I kind of realized that every single house was going to have something that I wasn't, you know, crazy about, or like every house was going to have one thing that I really loved, but then another thing that I didn't like so much. But we had to figure out what houses had the things that we loved that were worth it to have the things that we didn't love as much. Does that make sense? Like we had to find the house that we were willing to sacrifice a couple of things to have some other things that we really loved, which for this house, for us, we really wanted a finished basement, and we got that. That was Devin's like biggest thing. He wanted a finished basement. And then for me, and we also wanted a fenced in backyard. That was a big thing. So we got that as well. And then for me, I wanted an updated inside, especially the kitchen. That was a big thing for me, and I got that. So that was worth it to me, sacrificing like having a detached garage, which is what we got. We have a detached garage, which wasn't my favorite thing, but we were willing to compromise on that. And also the house is a little bit smaller, but like I said, I was willing to compromise that to have a nicer home. Does that make sense? So I didn't feel like any house was the one, but I was excited about every house we put an offer in on. I was kind of like, okay, I would love living here. I would love living here. Like whatever we get, I'm happy with. I'm not a super big like picky person, so I didn't have like this unrealistic expectation of a house being like our dream house, because like I said, it's our first house. So I didn't go in it with the expectation of finding this big, beautiful, new, updated home. Like I knew we weren't gonna be able to afford that. So I had an open mind, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I hope that answers your question. Another question was, how many times can you use the VA home loan? Which was a really good question, because I honestly didn't know the answer to this myself. I had to ask Devin, and then I did a little bit of research, and you can use the VA loan multiple times, which I didn't know. I thought you could only use it one time and be done, but I found out that you can use it multiple times. And if you're curious on if you qualify for the VA loan, if you are active duty for longer than 90 days, you can use the VA loan. And then obviously if you're a veteran, you can use the VA loan. So yeah, I hope that answers a few of people's questions, because I did not know that you could use the VA loan multiple times, but you can. From start to finish, how long did the process take? So I want to say that we started working with our realtor on a Monday, and then we had our house that we ended up purchasing by the following Tuesday. So it took like a week, a little over a week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't remember. It might have been like a week and a half. It took a week and a half for us to get the house that we 100% wanted and got. And once our offer was accepted on our home, it took about 45 days for us to close. So typically I hear people say it's like 30 days to close. For some reason, it took us a little bit longer. We did just close yesterday, and it was about a month and a half ago that we got our offer accepted. So it took a little bit longer. I'm not really sure why sometimes it takes longer, but it just did for us. So I would say all in all, it took like 2 months-ish for us to start the process and then be, you know, homeowners. What were the top 3 things you both wanted in your new house? Example, kitchen island. So I like this question. For us, I would say the top things that we wanted were a big fenced-in backyard for the dogs. That is something that we really, really wanted, and we were not going to compromise on. If the house had been perfect otherwise, we would have gotten a home and put in a fence, but we would have had to do it like immediately because our dogs have to have a fence and I don't trust them without one. So that was a big thing that we really, really wanted. Another thing, like I said, Devin really wanted a finished basement. We always have wanted a basement when we bought our house. So that was important to us. And then the third thing for me, I just wanted an updated home in general, and I didn't care if it was an older home and it was renovated or whatever, but I just wanted an updated home. And I think having a really nice kitchen was important to me, and my kitchen is so pretty. I can't wait to show it to you guys. I'll pop up a picture right here so you guys can kind of see like a little sneak peek of the kitchen, but it's really cute and it's like white and it just looks so pretty, and I'm so excited to cook in there and organize all my stuff. And yeah, so those were like the top 3 things that were important to us when looking for a house. Was it a hard process using the VA loan? So the process itself was not really that hard. I would say that it was more difficult for us and a little bit more stressful just because we weren't in the area doing everything. So it was a little bit annoying in that aspect. But using the VA loan was really easy. All that we did was, I'll kind of explain like the process like in really, really simple terms. So I do remember another question I got was, in what order did you do things? So this is how we did it. Now you can start looking at homes without being pre-approved for a certain amount of money, but there's really, in my opinion, no point in looking at houses until you're pre-approved, because you can't do anything if you find a house that you love, and houses go fast. I'm sure sometimes the market is really slow and you'll be able to like have time to think about it and like wait to put your offer in. But right now things are really crazy. So I would say get pre-approved first, which is what we did. So we kind of looked around at different lenders and we ended up choosing the one that we chose just based off of recommendations. And we gave them a bunch of information. They did like a credit check and all of that. They got a bunch of information from us, and then they pre-approved us officially. So we got pre-approved for X amount of money, and then we got sent like documentation saying that we were pre-approved, and so we had that first. So I would recommend doing that first, just so that you're all ready to put an offer in when the time comes if you find a house that you really like. And then the next thing that we did was find a realtor. So we found our realtor based off of recommendation through our friends that actually helped us look at houses. So they used our realtor before, and so we used their realtor, and we had a great experience with him. And he was really great, especially with us like not being there. I feel like he did a really good job. So we found our realtor second. So we got pre-approved, we found our realtor, and then we started looking at houses. So also when we got pre-approved, we did let them know that we were going to be using the VA loan. And with the VA loan, they have certain requirements, certain things that have to be inspected. I don't 100% know the specifics, but honestly, we did not take care of hardly any of it. Our realtor did all of the work for us, which I do recommend getting a realtor. And guys, realtors are free if you are buying a house, which I did not know. Now there might be like some that charge fees, I don't know, but as far as we found through our home buying process, our realtor was free to us. The money that they make is from the house that you buy, so the seller is who pays the realtor. At least that's my understanding. So you do not have to pay a realtor if you are looking to buy a house, which was a big thing for me. I didn't know if we could afford a realtor. And then I found out that you don't have to pay a realtor. So that was really exciting. And they do so much of the work for you. It's so worth it to get a realtor and just have them handle things, because I don't know how we would have done it without him. They handle all of the paperwork, like everything that seems complicated they do. So with the requirements that the VA loan had, like certain inspection things, like we did have to set up the home inspection, but like it was really simple. And basically our realtor would just send us documents to sign, and then he would be like, hey, okay, next thing you need to do is do this. Next thing you need to do is set up this. So he made it really simple for us. So I really recommend getting a realtor. So after we got our realtor, we started looking at houses. Now, once you find the house you want to put an offer in, you kind of talk with your realtor about like, hey, we want to offer this much. We want to ask for this much for closing costs. And our realtor kind of gave us his recommendations, and so that made it really simple for us. Once we put in our offer in our house and it got accepted, that's when he kind of like started leading us into like what the next steps were. So you have to get a home inspection. I believe that was the first thing we did, and got set up after the home our offer was accepted. So we picked a really good home inspector service company, whatever. Our friends recommended that as well. I honestly don't know what we would have done without them with this process. We literally did not know anything, obviously, because we'd never done it before. So they told us everything and gave us recommendations, and it worked out so well. So we were really lucky for that. But we got a home inspector service to come out, and then they did the home inspection, and that takes like a whole day. So we got that done, and then at that point is when you find out like if anything's wrong with the house. So we did have like a few things. Every house is going to have something. No house is going to be perfect. So we did have like a small list of things, and then basically what you do is you can have your realtor like send the seller like an official like document where it lists off what you would like to ask them to fix, and they can either say yes or they can say no. Or in our case, what our seller did was they gave us a check for a certain amount to put towards fixing things. So that worked out really well for us because I didn't mind for that to be the case. We were just gonna take the money and then we'll use it towards like fixing the things that need to be fixed, and that was totally fine with us. Now you might be the type of people that want everything fixed before you move into the house, and you will have to like ask the seller to do that, and they can either deny that request or say that they'll do it. So it's kind of up to them. But yeah, so that's what we did with that. And then after the inspection, and basically after that, it was just like a lot of paperwork. So we had to send in so many documents, our W-2s, our bank statements, like we had to send in documentation from Devin's new job, an offer letter saying that he got the job, a start date, all the documentation from like the inspections that we had done to the house. We had to get Devin's orders for him for separating, like his separation orders. We had to have that. We had to have so many documents, and we had to send that to the lender. So basically once your offer is accepted and you've done the inspection and all that, now you're basically dealing with the lender, and they will tell you like all the different documents that you need. And so that was a pretty lengthy process, at least it seemed like it. And then they sent in like the submission for our final approval for our loan, and then we had to do, there was like a few things that they still needed after that, and so we had to send that stuff in. And then finally about a week ago we got the final approval for our loan, so it was like official that we got approved for the loan. And then basically because we're not in the area of where we're moving to, our lender found like a notary for us, and we met him at a Panera Bread yesterday, and he had all of our documents. We all wore masks. He like sat us at separate tables, and he like had a Lysol wipe for everything, and he wiped off the pens for us, and then like we had to give him our licenses, and he like wiped them off. It was like a super social distancing thing, and it was awesome. But we did all that. We signed every single paper. He explained everything to us, and then he overnighted the paperwork to Ohio, and they got it all today, and so everything is official. And that is the process of how we bought our house. And I hope that this video has not been like super long, and I hope that hopefully you guys are watching it because you're interested in like the home buying process. But yeah, so I know that was a really long explanation, but that was basically the whole process of like start to finish how we bought the house. And honestly guys, I know it sounds like a lot, but like everybody explains everything to you along the way, and you just have to make sure you're in constant communication. I was probably really annoying to our realtor and our lender because I was constantly emailing them like, hey, any updates? What else do you need from me? Because I was trying to get the process like done. So I really wanted to close sooner than we did, but because I was planning on moving back to Ohio before Devin moved to Ohio, if that makes sense. I was planning on moving back like a few weeks before he did, just so I could get the house set up and get everything ready, and then he could just come home after he's done working. But it kind of worked out a little bit better because we closed right before we're moving, so that way we can just go together and then move in at the same time, and so that kind of worked out. So whew, that was a really long answer for one question, but I'm going to look at what else we have for questions. Can you share one thing you wish you knew before buying a house? We are looking into buying. So I think that one thing I would say, just from our one experience, is to have an open mind and to just try to stay positive. At the beginning, I kind of was like really stressing about every little thing, and I had like all of these ideas in my head, and I kind of had to like throw all of them out of the window at one point, because I was like, okay, I need to kind of lower my expectations a little bit. I had to realize that with our price point, we weren't going to find this like extravagant, beautiful house, which I knew, but I still was kind of like looking for that, I think, in the back of my mind. So I kind of had to like be realistic. I think that being realistic is really important when buying a house, because unless you make a ton of money, you know, the houses, it depends on like where you're moving to. We got a really nice house, I think, for the price that we bought it at. So I was really happy with that, but some areas are really expensive and it's hard to find a nicer house for like a lower price point. So yeah, I would just say have an open mind, be positive, know that the process will be over eventually, but just try to take it day by day and just like have fun, because it's a really exciting thing, especially if you're buying your first house. So try not to let it stress you out too much, but it is a really exciting thing, so just try to make it a positive experience. Can you go through any realtor, or do they have to accept / work with VA loans? So I don't know. I would assume every lender does the VA loan, but I will say we found one lender. Okay, so the first lender we talked to, she did not have a ton of experience with the VA loan, and she was like not really super knowledgeable about it, and that was a red flag for us. And we were kind of like, okay, I'm not sure if we really want to work with her, because she doesn't really know what she's talking about with the VA loan. So the lender that we ended up going with, they were super experienced with the VA loan, and they like knew everything about it, so we felt confident in going with them. So I would just make sure that they know a lot about the VA loan and that they work with it often. So that was one thing. And then as far as realtors go, you can choose any realtor you want. Personally, our realtor was a veteran himself. He did like over 20 years, I believe, in the Air Force. And so he had a lot of experience with like military stuff, and he also had experience with the VA loan, obviously. So I felt really good going with him. So you just kind of have to like do your research, and especially if you're like military like we are, the spouse page is like a really good tool to use when you're looking for realtors, because a lot of people have like a ton of experiences that they can share. So I would just say that do your research and you can find somebody that works best for you guys. Did you have to pay closing costs out of pocket, or is there a way to add it into the loan? This is a really good question, because our closing costs were like X amount of money, like a lot more than what we paid, and some of it was wrapped into our loan, but they weren't able to wrap all of it into the loan. And then also the seller paid some of our closing costs. When you put in an offer on a house, you can ask the seller to pay all of the closing costs, or you can say, I want them to pay like up to X amount of money on closing costs, or, you know, I want them to pay half of closing costs. Our seller only paid a little bit of our closing costs, so we did have to pay some money out of pocket for closing, because not all of it was wrapped into the loan. So you just do have to be prepared to pay some stuff. So we did have to pay a little bit of our closing costs. How much do you suggest / how much you saved for closing costs, etc.? So Devin and I just have like a general, like we save money just in general, but we knew like we wanted to have X amount of money before Devin got out of the military, so we did achieve that goal. And then we knew we would have to use some of that to like pay for the closing costs and to pay for like things to be fixed when we move into the house. Like for example, our house doesn't have any blinds, so we're gonna have to put blinds throughout the house. So that's one expense that we are prepared to do like when we move in. Another thing, just for example, is that we have like a chain link fence, and it's a little bit older. It's definitely functional and we could keep it if we wanted, but we want to put in a privacy fence just to have more privacy and to give us peace of mind. Just having big dogs, we don't want to have the chance that they could jump the fence, even though we have a chain link fence here and it's really short and our backyard's super small and they don't ever try to jump the fence, but we just want a privacy fence just because we want one. So that's another thing that we're gonna do. But I don't know, it's personal to everyone. You kind of have to, you know, judge that for yourself of how much. I mean, I would at least save $5 grand. I don't know if that's like a realistic amount to say. I would at least save that. But I would say try to have even more. I don't know. I feel weird giving you guys like figures because I don't know everybody's situation, and I know some houses are really affordable to buy and you might not have to spend that much. But then other houses, you know, you might have to spend a little bit more. So I would just say have a few grand at least put away, if not more, just so you have money to spend on things that you need to spend it on, and then to help with closing costs. And then also when you buy a house, you have to put what's called earnest money down, and that just is like a certain amount of money that you pay once your offer is accepted. That just shows that you're serious about buying the house, basically. What financial steps did you follow to budget and save? I wouldn't say we followed anything specific. We try to follow Dave Ramsey, which basically just means having no debt. We do have debt of our car that we bought last year in October, but that is the only debt that we have, which we want to pay off soon. But yeah, we try to like live a debt-free life, like no student loans, no credit card debt, like buying things with like cash right up front, or if we do use our credit card, we like pay it off, you know, that month or whatever. So we do that, and we also just try to live within our means. We save everything that we can, especially lately. I haven't been working, so we've been trying to save more just because I'm not working. But pretty much just every time one of us gets paid, Devin will transfer up a certain portion of it to the savings, and it's not a certain amount that we follow. We just try to save as much as we can, and we put it in the savings. We have 2 savings accounts, so he just decides how much he feels like we should put in there, and we do have 1 bank account between the both of us, so all of our money goes to the same place, and then he decides like what he thinks we should put into the savings. So I would just say, even if you can only save $100 from your paycheck or $50 from your paycheck, just put money away every time you get paid, and that way you can have a savings built up to use for emergencies or for something like buying a house. Will you be doing any DIY renovations to your home? So I kind of talked about this earlier with the fence and stuff. I'm trying to think. These are just like some examples. I do want to put new tile in the bathroom floor. Right now it's the hardwood that's like throughout the house. It's like a vinyl, like laminate flooring, and it's into the bathroom as well. I would like to put some really cool tile in the bathroom floor. That's one thing I want to do. And then I'm trying to think. Honestly, guys, our house is pretty move-in ready, which is exactly what we wanted, which I was super happy about. So there's not a whole lot that we really need to do. The doors in our house are all wood, so I would like to paint them white. And just like change out some hardware. I was thinking about changing the hardware out in the kitchen from silver to matte black. I thought that would look really nice. So there's just like some little things that aren't like dire, but that I would still like to do. That's all I can really think of at the moment, but I'm sure we'll find things to do like as we, you know, move in and do stuff. But there's not like any huge renovations that we would like to do. The basement has some weird like things built in, like it's like shelving sort of, but it's like kind of weird. You guys will see it when I do like an empty house tour. It's like really odd. I don't know why they left it there, but we would like to rip that out eventually. But like I said, that's not like a dire thing to do, but those are just some examples of things I would like to do when we move in. How did you guys figure out a comfortable price range? This is important because, like I said, we were approved for way more than we ended up purchasing at, and if we had purchased at that amount that we got approved for, we would have been really tight with money, which is not what we wanted. So what we did was, even though like we only got approved based off of Devin's income, my income didn't count, but what we did was, when we were calculating like what we wanted to spend monthly on a mortgage, we used Devin's income only. So that way my income is kind of just like a plus, and when we have babies, I can stay home. And that is like ultimately what we wanted. We wanted me to stay home with the kids when we have kids, and we wanted to make sure that that was possible. And so with this house, it is very much possible, which is really exciting for us. So how did we figure out a comfortable price range? Basically, we kind of added up all our monthly bills, and then we were able to, like I said, with the help from our friend Cody, he talked to Devin, and they kind of looked up like the taxes and all of that stuff in the area that we're moving to, and they added it into our like monthly mortgage. And so we know about we knew about what our mortgage, what we wanted it to be, and based off of that, we knew about what the price of the house that we wanted to buy would be around, like what we would like to stay around. And so that's how we figured that out. But yeah, and we try to stay like under a certain amount. So that was our goal, and we accomplished that, which was really exciting. So that's how we figured that out. Okay, and this is gonna be the last question I'm gonna answer. I feel like I've covered everything. If I haven't, please leave a comment down below and I'll try to answer it to the best of my abilities. But I feel like I've given a lot of information. Hopefully you guys found this helpful, but this is the last question I'm gonna answer. And it says, what are you most excited about now that you own your own home? And I really like this question because I am just so excited, and I'm so grateful that we were able to purchase our own home. And I'm just like, I don't know, I feel really, really blessed. I know this sounds like cheesy. I just feel like so lucky to like be able to own our own house. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be able to own our house. And I just feel like we have worked really hard to get to this point, and just to be able to own our own house and like do what we want with it, not live in base housing. We've only ever lived in base housing as a married couple. So just to have a house that's not like base housing, and to be able to like paint the walls and like, you know, make memories, do things that we want to our own house, and not like know that the next time we move, pretty much is because we want to move out of the house. Like, I don't know, that's just like really exciting for me. I'm excited to have a big backyard for the dogs to run in and to have like family over. I'm so excited to be close to family and to be in like an area that we actually love. We don't really like it here, and I'm just so excited to be in a place where there's like winter and snow and fall leaves falling on the ground, and like to be able to drive to my mom's house and like, you know, go to Home Goods with her, or to like go to Trader Joe's because we don't have a Trader Joe's here, and to go to Costco and like all the restaurants that we miss. We're gonna be like an hour from home to us, so I feel like it's a really good distance to like have our own space but to also be close to everybody. And I don't know, I'm just excited for everything, and I just can't wait to have like a fresh start with Devin outside of the military and all of that, and we're just really excited for everything. So there's not much that we're not excited for, but I just can't wait to share everything with you guys. But I hope that this video was helpful. I know that this was probably like forever long, and I hope if you've made it to the end of this video you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. So please give this video a thumbs up and comment down below if you enjoyed it. And sorry, I just cracked my elbows. Like I said, if there are any questions that you guys have that I didn't answer, just leave them down below and I'll try to answer them. And yeah, if there's any other videos you want to see, let me know. But I think I'm gonna vlog the rest of the day after this, and so hopefully the video after this you'll see as a vlog. But make sure you check out my last video if you haven't. Make sure you subscribe for more videos, and I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.